and
Sorry, this is start recording there. Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll just get straight to it then.
welcome to Imprisoned in Prison on the Prisoner Prison Cast. I am your host, or am I, Mark
Well, you're
Malik?
a host. That you could be halfway correct, right?
Pop, pop,
Or there's this
pop,
guy.
pop.
I'm Matt.
That's Matt.
Once upon a time, once when you were mine, I remember skies reflected in your eyes.
And between your creamy thighs, I told a lot of lies.
That's not the next verse of the song. Okay.
I thought you were making it up.
No, that's the Moody Blues is your wildest dreams.
Oh,
For
well,
honestly, that was the wrong title for this episode anyway. Did I say I'm Matt? Now I have.
it doesn't make any sense except for some of the things that someone yells are nursery rhyme related things.
Why was this episode not called Degree Absolute? That was the working title. The best name ever. I would have remembered the phrase last week if it were the title of the episode.
Yeah, it whether this was the finale or not the finale, it would be perfect for this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's now it's part of what. Okay, you're doing the trivia, but it's basically the
Yep.
first part of the two-part closer, but filmed way before. But I guess you should just do a trivia and get that done properly.
Well, I didn't know that the working title is Degree Absolute, so I don't have that. So you
Well,
helped
okay,
with
I helped
trivia.
you. I mean, that
You
makes
helped.
sense though. Why wouldn't it be the
I
title?
didn't really think about it, but I did definitely not expect this episode to be my favorite episode when it was called Once Upon a Time. Also, considering the last like 3 episodes have been like fictional works within the series or something, or the last two.
Yeah, it's like the
But
Mad
this
Max
one,
Legends idea.
but this one is called Once Upon a Time. Anyway, this episode was number 6 in production order. Produced after
Ooh.
the chimes of Big Ben and before the Schizoid Man, is next to last in every episode viewing order. Patrick McGoohan is back to direct, and he wrote this episode under the pseudonym Archibald Schwartz, which he used because he was worried that the script would be ridiculed. This episode was originally planned as the season finale of the first of 2 seasons of 13 episodes each, but when the show was reduced to 1 season of 17 episodes, the ending was refilmed so it would lead into the finale, making the 2 episodes a sort of loosely connected 2-part series finale. Leo McKern returns as number 2. You'll remember him from The Chimes of Big Ben. We watched that episode 5th, but it was 2nd episode to air in the original run right after the pilot, making McKern's appearances bookends on the series when it was aired. According to many people who worked on this episode, he and McGoohan became so engrossed in their roles that they achieved near psychotic states, and production had to be halted for a while because McKern suffered either a nervous breakdown or a heart attack, depending on who you ask.
Or both.
Or both. I think he just became
Crazy.
yeah.
Just became crazy.
We spend most of our time with him, so let's finally get to know the butler. If you haven't noticed, he's been in every episode so far except for Many Happy Returns, Living in Harmony, and The Girl Who Was Death, all episodes which barely take place in the village. He will be back for the finale next week as well. He's played by Angelo Muscat, who was born in Malta in 1930. He had a relatively brief but memorable acting resume, appearing in 4 Doctor Who episodes, a TV movie of Alice in Wonderland, Magical Mystery Tour, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He passed away from natural causes in 1977. That was his entire career, I said.
Yeah, I saw he was making bird cages as well, ornate bird cages.
He seems awesome. Anyway,
Oh,
summary.
Was that?
That's the end of the trip. That's it.
I think I actually have a touch more than you for once.
Go for it, man. Put it in.
There was a he's credited. Oh geez, I messed up my screen by bringing up the Moody Blues, but yeah, there was a guy who was number 86 or something who is credited in the episode but does not appear. He ended up on the cutting room floor except for his name, which was no, that's Angelo Muscat.
I left him out because it didn't seem like that much of a
John Maxim, but his name's John Maxim,
number
which is
86.
kind of awesome. He sounds like a spy, right? John
but
Maxim.
they're also Wasn't there already a number 86 who was a lady in one of those episodes?
Well, there's other number twos as well, so you can't really make that
Huh.
argument.
What if every week they replace the number 86 and then kill them?
Mm. And I should mention, and I haven't. The reason I haven't finished the Alex Cock book about the prisoners because I want to wait till I watch the episodes till I read the bit, right? But
Hmm.
his thing is no, you should watch these in production order. So in his mind, you do put this one as the sixth episode. So
What?
yeah,
That's crazy. Oh yeah, that's crazy. I will get into it later, but let's
there's nothing
go.
crazy about this episode. Why don't you
There's
tell us
nothing
about this
crazy at
episode?
all. There's nothing crazy about this episode. All right, the summary. A previous number 2 is back, and he has decided the only way to break number 6 is to use a technique called degree absolute. Number 6 is hypnotized by his bed and put into a trance like state, and is taken and locked into a chamber called the embryo room, along with number 2 and the butler, with a timer that will not release them until 1 week is up. Number 2 begins using regressive therapy to reenact scenes from number 6's life, with number 2 acting as the authority figure in each one. He keeps trying to get number 6 to state why he resigned, with no luck. As he goes along, he discovers that number 6 has an aversion to saying the number 6 when counting, skipping from 7 to 5 or 5 to 7, even when number 2 explicitly tells him to count even numbers. Eventually, when in a mock prison cell, number 6 starts to gain control of his mind and turns the tables on number 2, taking control of the interrogation. Number 6 knows that degree absolute is a risk when the interrogator has their own issues, which number 2 admits he has. He gets number 2 into an agreeable state, who then number 2 gives number 6 a tour of the room and pours them both drinks, and number 2 slips out of the prison cell and locks number 2 in, giving the key to the butler. Number 2 has a panic attack and screams for 6 to die, and then falls over and collapses, seemingly having died himself. The supervisor shows up to tell number 6 that they need the body for evidence and asks number 6 what he wants. He replies that he wants number 1, and the supervisor, butler, and number 6 take their leave together.
Yeah, I mean, the supervisor just like come with me, right? He doesn't say I'm taking
Yeah.
you to number one. So
No, he didn't say. He says, "What do you want?" And he says, "I want number 1," and then they leave. That's it was both hard and easy to summarize this because I could have gotten a lot more detail with what everyone was screaming at each other, but I don't think that would have been.
yeah, there's bomber the Bomberman game that was fun.
Yeah, Bomberman. There's just I have most of my notes are just things that they were yelling. I just have my notes say like 5 5 5 6 6 5 5. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Yeah, etc.
So yeah, so you like the dialogue? I mean,
Oh no, this is my shit. This is my favorite episode. I remember seeing this before, and in my head, this was like the entire series.
oh,
This is like
okay,
what I am here for.
right. This is what you're here for. That's great.
Mhm.
Okay. um, well, I don't know. Where do you want to start though? I just have like insane notes. I have five as the magic number, number five, number five, number five, revolution number five. I mean, those are my notes, right? That's not
I
even in the episode.
there's probably more screaming in this than the entire rest of the series.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
I gotta
was
say, it was a little bit shocking how much younger number 6 looked in
yeah,
this
the
than the
series
last
aged
couple.
him.
Like the series, it's like the U.S. president thing. Yeah, you see like Obama after 4 years looks like he'd aged like 20 years. This is the series almost did this to him.
Right. So even thinking about that.
Oh,
Hey,
I thought it was obvious.
okay.
Maybe it was obvious to me because I knew it was so far back in production order.
That might have been part. I mean, I knew that, but I mean, it's all within a year. But yeah, you got your president factor, as you said. So,
Yeah,
um,
yep, can't dispute the president.
I'm having a look here. Yeah, there is the weird segment where number six is fully reduced, and uh, and I'm sitting there like, is this okay? Is this
Oh yeah, no,
offensive?
this is technically problematic episode, but not really.
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, they could have taken it if they took it maybe a little bit farther. It would have. I mean, Quantum Leap did a lot worse like 30 years later. So
Okay, good point. Yeah. But yeah, it's like the tropical thunder line, right?
yeah, yeah,
There's
that was
lots of
like 10 years after that.
I do like the number of sucker punches in this episode. That's good. There's like 5 sucker punches.
I-
Like if
yeah,
anyone gets confused, they just sucker punch in this episode. Like number 2 or 6, right? So
I feel like both. I feel like if Kelsey Grammer had a one act, one man show, then it would be this.
like he'd be doing both roles, or he'd be talking,
Yeah.
or
He would
would he
just,
be talking to a stuffed bear? Maybe like the role of number 6 would be a stuffed bear,
he'd be talking to David Hyde Pierce.
but not the real one. It's just a big
A
a big
poster.
dummy of no, it
The
could be a
cardboard cutout from Living in Harmony.
no. I want a full plush one. I went looking a few days ago because I remember having a plush Roger Rabbit growing up. Right, I was like,
Hmm.
did they make plush Jessica Rabbits? Were there like 5-year-old boys going around with their plush Jessica Rabbits?
I want to say there was very little Roger Rabbit merchandise, but I might have been the wrong age. Because when
Yeah,
that came out, I was 12 and I was fully like, I was buying CDs, not, toys at
yeah.
that
I guess
point.
why did I? I guess I was slightly too old for a plush Roger Rabbit, but because I would have been like 10, right? But I don't know. I
Mhm.
liked Roger Rabbit. That was good. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just thinking about that. That came to mind while I was thinking about the tangent we were on. So I guess it's hard to not to talk about this episode and end up on insane tangents.
Yeah, this is two people just working each other into. I mean, it looked like a lot of fun to do. At one point, Patrick McGowan said this was his favorite episode of the series. I don't know if that means it was his favorite one to make, but
Hmm.
it probably wasn't. But it looked like they were having fun in a way.
I guess he was doing better off like the more he got to scream, and this is the most screamy episode, isn't it? Although
Yes,
Leo
for
McKern
sure.
does a lot of it. I mean, he's
Yeah, I
definitely
think
responsible for. I guess it's like his match in screaming.
he does the more. Yeah, he's trying to scream as much as number six, but he like goes way overboard.
Like I mean, we have talked about how the last few number 2s seem like weirdly ineffective. Maybe since the gold standard guy retired and it's your funeral, like all the new 2s are just like shadows of themselves. That's why they have to call this guy back.
Yeah, he's just so the last so his so the chimes of Big Ben was more about it was more about number six escaping than any kind of like actual plan,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting itself.
So he needs a chance to actually do his plan, and he wants to go for the most
Yeah.
hardcore plan.
Yeah, it's almost like he hasn't it's like he hasn't even really had a chance to show us his stuff, and now he's like, I'll show you.
That's kind of what I mean. That's what the first 5 minutes is. That's why he's like gaslighting the butler with breakfast.
Yeah, he's already losing his shit like immediately. Like he breaks into number six's room and is hypnotizing him with a machine, and he's already like screaming nursery rhymes while he's like not even conscious. Well, six is not conscious.
I thought that was part of the process for degree absolute. I mean, or maybe he just wanted to do that. I don't know.
Maybe he was just getting himself ready for a week of nursery rhymes.
I
Maybe
assume
this should
they
have been called a week of nursery rhymes.
I assume they cast McKern because of his singing career.
I have no idea. Since it was right after the last one in production order, they might have just been like, "Hey, you're pretty good. Just stick around for this next one."
Yeah. No, I mean, are you
I
recalling
doubt it.
his singing?
I barely.
Oh, sorry. I'm being snarky there. It's like he's just
Yeah.
like like all of his singing sounds like that. It's like just like full on terrible. It's great. He'd be a hit at the Chuck E. Cheese live show.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like the guy that you have the most fun watching at karaoke, even though he's not the best singer.
Well, he's the worst singer. So
Yeah. Well, he might not be.
why
I
didn't
mean, karaoke, right?
yeah why didn't whole elevators ever become like more common? Those are great. The ones that take you down from number two's office down to the embryo level.
I think because it's really easy to fall out of them,
Well,
right?
it's like a platform,
You pay
and if you
attention, you're fine.
yeah, I mean yeah, I mean they could put a little no, I guess a railing would defeat the wholeness of it.
Well, it's funny because I actually was playing a video game last night that had like a big giant elevator where enemies kept attacking me. I was like, oh, it's like Ninja Turtles elevator.
Did you fall
Like,
off at some?
no, it was too big for me to fall off of. I probably could have tried to fall off of it.
I don't see why you didn't. Okay.
I mean, if it was Elden Ring, then it would be hard not to fall off of it. But they don't
Hmm.
really have elevators all that
I
much.
I'm still in a
It's
situation, the weird situation where I never did like a proper quarantine or lockdown where I live, but I was
Mhm.
wondering how many people's lockdowns like turned into this back in, a few years ago. They just ended up
I
screaming nursery rhymes at each other. Had to happen somewhere.
I really thought I was going to notice like how many. I thought it was going to be a noticeable number of my friends getting divorced, but it wasn't like it didn't really seem to go up.
Oh, okay.
I
So,
don't know.
well, the one that
Yeah,
did, that's because they were screaming nursery rhymes at each other.
I mean,
That has become their form of communication.
I was with my roommate Luke a lot, but we were very nice to each other and
Were
kept
you
each other
married?
company. No,
Well, that's a different situation then.
this is till death. This is till death do us part, right? He did say that a few times. I was like,
Oh,
"Till
yeah, they're
death do us
married in this
part."
episode, aren't they?
They did till death do them part, and then
That's
you
a,
know what?
he wanted a
It
submissive
happened.
relationship.
He died, sort
Th- th-
of.
there were several there were several times in this where I wrote like, oh, we just missed one of the weirder videos on Pornhub.
Should I
Like,
just upload this whole episode to Pornhub?
yeah. See how what's happening?
Call it Degree
With the little
Absolute.
man? And hey, everybody gets turned on by something. No, no, something turns on everyone.
um,
No, everything turns on
Everyone
someone.
turns on someone.
Yeah. That
And
sounds
these
that
guys turn
sounds
on each other.
these guys turn on each other. That's right. Okay.
That's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, we should rewrite the script.
I don't want anything to be. The only thing that needs to be rewritten is clearly they just decided that they were just gonna bring Leo McKern back and then decide he wasn't dead. Like they probably should have done a little bit of filming him not dead. Or I it looked like his eyes were open in the end, but I wasn't sure. But
Yeah, they were open in the end. Um, it is suggested that he's off. I mean, what was the deal with the last 5 minutes? I mean, how does he die? Does he have like a time poison, or did he just flip out, or what?
it seemed to me like he just flipped out and lost his mind. And then because we've seen a couple of times, I mean, Living in Harmony, the end of that, where people just sort of die from where
Like the mind games like drive them nuts instead.
where the woman dies because the kid strangles her for like a minute, for like 10 seconds or something, but not
Yeah, because
really,
he's
doesn't
confused by
seemingly
their
not that hard.
ruse. The number six
And
works it
then
out without too much trouble, but yeah, the kid is completely nuts.
but he jumps off of like a 6 foot platform and then dies.
Yeah, that really shouldn't have killed him. I mean, I guess he could land on his head, but that'd be difficult.
It's the whole old like
They got a
bad
clock tower
guy
in the village.
bad guy dies from nothing and the good guy can like get shot 70 times and be fine.
Yeah.
Sort
So
of those rules. It's like Marvel Cinematic Universe.
okay, so this is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe then.
It could be.
Okay. Um,
We'll find out next week, won't we?
yeah. What are they doing in the in sports? They do a bit of fencing and what else?
Fencing.
Before the fencing, there was something else. Anyways, another sport, and I was just like sitting there like,
There's the
why
butler
didn't he?
hits him in the head with a baseball bat.
Yeah, his mistake was not choosing Kosho as their
Oh, they didn't have
tool.
Kosho in the embryo room. There isn't room for it.
That's the flaw in the plan, then, isn't it? If Kosho was in the embryo room, it would have worked.
Yeah, that would have been great.
So,
They just
then he's like, kill me with a foil. I'm like, can you really kill someone with a foil? I mean, it would be hard
well,
to
he
run
did
through. I mean, fencing weapons aren't meant to be deadly.
he did a whole thing where he like used the door to pry the little tip off of the end, where it's like a stabby tip. Like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
saw blood on him, that light red blood that you see in the
yeah,
series so
okay.
often.
Maybe I don't. Maybe I just don't understand the deadliness of a fencing foil.
I think you have to be incredibly powerful, like a trained spy, to be
Mm.
able to stab someone with a fencing foil after you've pulled the tip off of it.
I guess I just didn't trust that number two was going to be able to do that. Like
He
if the
probably
tables were
couldn't.
turned, maybe number six could have, had with all those kosher skills, he could have transmuted those into fencing skills and done it properly.
We haven't really seen number six kill anyone, have we?
Well, we see him pick up the gun, and living in harmony, right?
Oh yeah, he does kill a bunch of people in that.
Right. Well, in the dream
Technically,
world, but I mean, he
technically,
doesn't even pick up a firearm until that episode, right? That's the first
yeah.
time he has a firearm. So, and now he's killing someone with his mind, I guess.
That's. I don't think that he. Again, it's like he's the good guy, so he's not supposed to kill. So basically, it's like I think the idea is that number two just killed himself because he like flew too close to the sun. You know, it's like he tried to outwit somebody who was so much better than him that he just died of shock.
But that was part of the ramp up where number two keeps screaming and I'm like, why won't you kill? Which
Mhm.
again leads me to think, well, maybe his intelligence role was not James Bond or John Drake spy work, right? Because he doesn't he can't be a 007 if he's not going to get his two kills, right?
Yeah, maybe he's playing a character who is like maybe it was his second day as a spy and they were like, you have to assassinate these people. Like the intro we're watching is second day.
You
He's
need to
like, I
assassinate
won't
these
do
six
it.
people,
Yeah, you need to assassinate. Yeah, you need to assassinate these Nazis. He's like,
these
I
six
won't kill.
Nazis.
No, I won't do it. And
they're,
that's
they're,
like
they're the paperclip people that just wouldn't play along.
that'd be amazing if it turns out that he was just a spy for like one day and he
They're
quit.
like, oh, I am still Nazi. Sorry,
Why
I'm
did
talking
you
about the
quit?
paperclip people.
I know I did not see that coming.
I don't think number six is a paperclip person. He's too young.
No.
Um,
Well, it showed some of this showed that he fought Germans, even though you could say that that's fabricated. Who knows?
right, right. Anyway, I'll buy that. I don't really need to stretch my brain too much to accept that. I was saying number two is a terrible actor. Leo McCurran is sublime, but number two is a terrible actor.
Yes, he is way in over his head. I mean, yeah, it's like it's so fun to watch him work, but he's like terrible at what he's doing.
I mean, he's in the village. It's the perfect place to hold a few like improv workshops before instituting degree absolute. Would have done him some good.
Well, we have a phrase in playing video games. It's called tilting. Like when you tilt, it's like when you get so angry when you're playing. Like, say you're playing Halo and you get killed by like some dude a bunch of times and you get more and more angry and your anger makes you worse at playing. And then it's like you go and it makes you more angry and your anger makes you worse and then you just slide into the point where you're just completely incapable of doing anything. That's
Mm.
basically what he's doing here. He's tilting.
Well, yeah. I guess that is the downside of attempting degree absolute, right?
Yeah, it's like number 6. Not only does number 6 lay it out for us why it's risky for someone to do it, but he basically is like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing it yourself. You have issues. He admitted he had issues.
Yeah. It's like, dude, at least suck it up for a bit. You only got 5 minutes, right? Nah, I guess he had 20 minutes by that. No, I guess that was about the 5 minute mark. Yeah, okay. Again, the ticking clock in this episode makes zero sense.
Yeah, I think I want to say the last 5 minutes take like 30 seconds, but then I don't know.
Oh yeah, when he's counting down because the climatic dialogue of this episode, of course, is just 55, 54, and I'm like, he's
The
counting
clock is
way
just a
too
red
slowly.
circle.
Yeah, it seems like the red circle's like in the same spot when they lock it. It's like when it's finished too. It doesn't seem like the red circle moved. I thought the red circle was going to move or something, or they just
No.
forgot to set it in the opening scene of the embryo.
I mean, the only rational explanation is that number 6 set the clock himself, so he knows exactly how slow it goes.
And it's not like we're ripping apart this episode. Once you set the entire thing in a room this weird, you have to consider all the weird things in the room. Let's
No,
think of the embryo room's forms of transportation, for example. There's that scooter that you keep. I mean, you don't need that in that room at all. You could just walk over there. It's not a big deal.
But it's an immersive experience. It's like, you don't technically need the people movers on those Disney rides. Like you could probably just walk through most of that stuff, but it's like
Right.
you're getting immersed, you're getting taken for in your scooter ride through the magic world of Peter Pan or whatever.
Okay. And then I wrote
It's a bad
flight
example since you have to fly through that, but
for
well,
my.
this
Well,
is one
no,
of
you
those.
get to fly through this. They had Flight Simulator 1967.
It's true.
It's a wooden plank and a front and a
the,
projected image of something.
I mean, clearly the conceit is that number six was so like completely destroyed mentally that he believed all that stuff was real, which it seems like there are other times in the series where they really could have used that to their advantage, and I can't think of specific instances off the top of my head, but yeah,
So the embryo room would make a great the prisoner theme park attraction, right? Hell, they
yeah,
could
for
put this
sure.
into Port Melian, the prisoner experience where you
You go down an elevator and then a man screams at you and just, like pretends to be the judge sentencing you to
in a
court.
bizarre room. So I sentence you to court. No, contempt, I think is what you're looking for.
Contempt. Yes. No, the judge sentences you to court, and then you go to court, and then another judge sentences you in the court.
To
You're
contempt.
sentenced. You're
Contempt of
sentenced to
court.
court. You were sentenced to go to court first. That's
Okay.
how this system
But this
works.
is a court. Okay. That is how the system works.
Order in the court. I'll have ham and cheese.
And what was with the kitchen and like this? Yeah, they had like their little themed restaurant in there, which and then that one didn't make sense. I mean, they're already locked
I think
in. They need another cage, I guess. I mean, they do for the plot in the end, but
I think this is a little bit of a diversion, but my favorite thing probably about the episode is that there were all these times when he was trying to get him to say the number six, and then he wouldn't, and then made number two completely lose his mind. Where he's like, count down even numbers. He was like, count even numbers: 2, 4, 5. He's like 6, 5.
yeah, my
It's
my
just
my
like
note there is all caps. There are 5 even numbers.
it's just the idea of someone just screaming that 5 is an even number is really hilarious to me.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's a,
Uh,
it's a battle of will. So if your will is that strong, even if you're blatantly wrong, right?
but it's like I still feel like I need an explanation why the number 6 is that important.
I like my you have to assassinate 6 people. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, we only got one episode left, which I've seen somewhere in the past, but I don't remember details. So
we may get to it and I'll be like, "Oh, I did see this. I don't remember seeing it."
I think maybe I showed you this in the final episode at some point, just like to try and like screw up your mind.
I don't
That would have made sense. Like I would have skipped you straight to the end of the prisoner just to like.
I don't feel like I would have let you do that cuz I don't like spoilers.
Okay, I
I've
did that.
never liked spoilers.
I did that to somebody. It might have been Scott then. But yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, also, and I don't like spoilers, and also, like, if it's like a short series like this, I'd probably be like, oh, I'll just watch all of it if it's good. Like, I'd be
Yeah.
like, show me the first episode.
Yeah, but if I were like intentionally trying to like play a prisoner style mind game on you, I would have like maybe not explained what was happening and just put this on, you know?
I do actually have friends who were going to watch along with us, and they tapped out because they couldn't handle like how old and British this was. And I am going to message them, be like, hey, watch this one.
Yeah, maybe work it out there. I mean, I'm not. This might be the best place to start with the prisoner. I mean, it's not like anything's particularly spoiled, you know. It
Yeah,
was
the only thing is
episode
the
6,
ending.
and yeah, but even then, I mean, that doesn't spoil anything. You just, you know,
Well, it doesn't, but it's like if you watch this without watching the last episode after it, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense because it's
so
like, yeah,
so
they leave. I guess you
so this
could
should
assume the supervisor ignored his request to see number one and then just
so this could be episode 1 and 17 in your viewing order, bumping Fallout to 18. So you have 18 in your viewing order now because you put this first.
you
But you
could
should refresh yourself before getting to the end.
you watch this one first, then you watch Fallout, then you watch the rest of the series in order.
No, you skip Fallout. You just watch this
Yeah.
one and then you go back to the beginning.
What you do is put an interstitial in there that says, "I remember what it was like when I first got to the village," and then you watch the rest of the series and then fall out.
No, sorry, 19 episode order. You watch this first. You
Yeah.
watch it again in position 7, which used to be position 6 in production order. But since you're watching this one first, it gets bumped to 7. And then you watch it again at number 18. This is the 18th episode you watch. And then Fallout becomes the 19th. So in this viewing order, you have to watch this episode 3 times.
What if you watch half of it and then watch the other half of it at the end?
No.
No? Okay. Where didn't we talk on a previous episode about making like a random like generator, taking each of these into each prisoner episode into different commercial break segments and then making a generator to randomize all of them?
Okay. I think I was suggesting that more with the 66 Batman, but I guess that could be funny. Here I was just saying you random order number generator. I can't put those words together. The episodes themselves, not the scenes. Although that could be fun too if you just want to confuse people.
That I bet you would at some point think the goal is to watch long enough that you are tricked into thinking that two things go together. Like you'll just enter a trance-like state after like 3 or 4 hours.
Little Jack Horner ordered his episodes all into an episode pie. And off to the races. Sorry, I just thought
Humpty Dumpty fell down and all of his episodes were all around.
I just thought it needed to de-evolve into that sort of conversation at some point.
I definitely considered just coming into this episode of the podcast just screaming things at you, but I decided not to.
Okay, well, 30 whatever minutes, and I decided to take that route as well. So
30 minutes, 29 minutes, 28 minutes.
This is only a 28-minute podcast.
27 minutes.
It's only 27 minutes.
What is a minute? Where are your minutes? Where's your clock?
Larger than 28.
Where is your clock?
The largest number.
Why am I can't do it without laughing. That's the problem. I wonder if they broke laughing a bunch when they were filming this, or if I guess they probably were consummate actors and took it really seriously. And
I guess it's if they're into the method or not.
I'm pretty sure this is. I don't know. I don't know how method you can be if you've done like 5 spy shows. Like you'd probably just slip into it.
Yeah, I mean he mistakes number 2 for the director because he starts strangling him. Oh, I am the director. I am the director.
He is the director. Yeah, he's the director. He's number 1, the director.
I feel like didn't I see directed by David Tomblin though in this one? Sorry, I'm just having maybe my brain is exploding on its own.
There was on Wikipedia. It said that this was written by somebody different. It says it was weird. It was like not in the actual Wikipedia page, but in the page with all the episodes on them. It said it was written by the guy who wrote
I don't remember
the 2 other episodes. It was a guy who wrote. It was a guy who wrote the Chimes of Big Ben.
Okay. For instance. Oh, they just kept him around for 2 episodes, and then just
no, but they didn't. I think it was
Steen's name on this episode again was kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. By this point, he was just like enraged somewhere in a.
I guess this is that thing where did have enough presence of mind to be like, it probably doesn't look good if I'm like Orson Welles all of these episodes, even though I am.
What is going?
Produced, starring, and directed by.
I think I've lost my mind or the Wikipedia page changed while we were doing this episode.
Why? What do you see now?
Because now it says,
That's not what it says.
Having a problem with this. I'm having issues. Now it says Patrick McGowan wrote it on Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. Somebody wrote it for sure.
Well, yep, somebody did.
Somebody made this episode, that's for sure. I was thinking
that is true.
I was thinking one of the other Black Room 60s episodes, which I guess there's a lot of those. The first one I think of is Star Trek's The Empath, which is one of the few TOS episodes I've never made it through. That one commits the sin of being boring, I think, and their Black Room is like too boring.
Does it have a horny Betazed in it?
I don't think it's a Betazed, but yeah, something like
There's
that.
your problem.
Well, it has
It's
some
called the
weird
empath that has to have a horny
with
betazoid.
Kirk's.
Betazoid.
It's Kirk, Spock, and McCoy stuck in a room with some lady who's like mute or something because she's an empath, and
Hmm.
it's season 3. So it's.
Oh,
I mean, it
I
could have
don't.
tilted so easily into being like wacky fun season 3, but it's too boring to do that. This is what I want from that episode, right?
Yeah,
This is a
I don't
great
think I've
Black Room
seen all.
episode.
I don't think I've seen all of season 3. Actually, that's like my secret shame.
Have you seen the Space Hippies?
Probably. Is that what it's called?
This Way to Eden is the name of the episode.
Yeah,
Is that
I've
the
seen it.
Space Hippies? Okay, that one's fantastic. Um,
Well, the thing is, when I sat down to rewatch all of the original series and all of Next Generation, I decided I would alternate episodes,
that was
which
a
is
terrible
actually a
idea.
way. It was the worst idea because it makes you insane. Because since Next Generation was written like during a writer's strike, they were reusing original scripts, so it's like you end up watching the Naked Now right after you watch the Naked. What was it? The Naked Truth?
Time, naked
Naked Time?
time.
Naked Time. Yeah. So you're watching like a worse version of an older episode right after. It was just
Yeah, that's no
mind
good.
destroying. Anyway, I had burned out and just stopped watching both of them after the second season.
See, that's what number 2 should have done this episode. He should have had number 6 watch alternating series of Star Treks to confuse him.
Did Star Trek air already at this point, or did it come out
Yeah,
after
it
this?
was. It was. It was. I mean, I
It
don't
was
know how
early
much these.
'68.
See, I don't know how much these guys knew about Star Trek, but it's all concurrent. I mean, the styles of the time would be in both, right? So
I like to imagine that people in Britain like didn't watch anything but BBC ever, and it's like communism. They just like are not aware of American television.
not the BBC, pish posh.
I mean, Jesus, this is better than almost every American TV series that exists. So can't really complain. I mean, there's plenty of BBC stuff where I'm like, well, this is kind of the best thing. Like, basically, BBC and in my brain, it's BBC inspired HBO and HBO
BBC
inspired.
2,
Yeah.
BBC 4, BBC
No.
5.
It's Channel 4. It's not BBC 4, right?
I don't know.
I think it's called Channel 4.
Because there's that song where Austin Powers is singing all the BBCs, but I mean, he's Canadian, so what does he know?
Yeah, I've just pretty much decided that I'm going to rewatch all of Absolutely Fabulous pretty soon.
Okay, sure, why not?
So that can be our next podcast.
Absolutely podcast. So I guess
Podcabulous.
I like to get into like what is the mind game, but I guess it's clear in this one. It's degree absolute. What is degree absolute?
It's a named mind game. I mean, this is sort of a mishmash of regression therapy and
Insanity.
God, I feel like there's a word for, I was thinking about this while I was watching it. I'm like, there's just a word for like yelling things at someone over and over to try and break them, but that's like
Psychic driving.
So is that what psychic driving is? I feel like we brought that up so much and I don't understand it. But but psychic driving is more of like a repeating it like in a monotone over and over for 12 hours, right?
With
It's
like
not
an
like
induced
somewhat
coma. And if you're
it's
in
not a
camera
man
for like
yelling
2 months.
Yeah, it's not like a man yelling at you. Well, what this reminds me of the most, I mean, reminds me of, but it came much later, is the scene from The Matrix where Agent Smith is like, I must get out of the Matrix. Like, this feels like basically number 2 has a big, like, I must get out of the Matrix vibes.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, you would at least get out of the village.
You must give me the codes to the village.
But he should have the codes to the village.
It's just it feels just very schizophrenic. It feels like the type of thing that it feels like watching too many commercials. It's like it's like programming, right? That's what it feels like.
I think programming is supposed to be the things between the commercials.
But I mean, programming, I think we have a programming issue now that's not even being addressed because we have things like what is 5G? 5G barely even is a set thing that exists, but it's a thing that people have latched onto and blamed a whole lot of things on. And it's because
5G.
But it's like that's just the thing. All 5G ever was just a marketing term, but it's like finally people have had so many marketing terms that they're like, no, this marketing term is evil. It's like it's making the frogs gay or whatever the hell people think.
I mean, I think there's a certain thing to, like some people being more electromagnetically sensitive. Like I usually keep my Bluetooth off because I feel like kind of gnarly if it's on. And I was on the phone. I realized I was feeling real crap, and I realized I was staying in a street between like a solar power station and like a transformer junction. I was like, oh, and then I walked away, and I was like, oh, I feel much better. So,
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, there's Bluetooth kind of everywhere. And
yeah, but
5G is not, but 5G isn't a different technology. It's basically the same technology that regular Wi-Fi uses.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like, I'm not saying that necessarily radioactive signals are good. And I certainly am not no
Electromagnetic.
authority.
I don't think
Electromagnetic
they have.
thing,
Yeah, I don't think they have radiation.
radio signals,
They have
radio.
radiation now. They've added the radiation.
Yeah. But
That's the problem.
basically, I'm saying is that 5G is basically the same frequency that like most Wi-Fi operates at in your home. So it's
Right.
not like a particularly different thing.
Yeah. I'm just being the skeptic
Yeah.
here and being like, oh, I've had situations personally where sometimes I'll turn stuff off and then suddenly like feel better. So maybe I am
Yeah.
sensitive to that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, I'm not even trying to discount that. I'm just saying that 5G specifically is not
Mm-hmm.
somehow like more dangerous than 4G or 3G. It's pretty much the same, all the same crap.
Right, right.
Or Bluetooth. Well,
Like
I,
and then I can also sometimes sense here. I don't know those those invisible dog fences, the sonic dog fences.
Interesting.
I like sometimes when I walk by houses, I'm like, whoa, and I think that's what I'm getting like a signal from that or something. So I have to stay at their house.
Oh yeah, you should stay at their house.
Turns into
You
this
should stay
episode.
inside.
We end
Stay
up
inside the fence.
screaming
Yeah.
nursery rhymes to each other.
But yeah, but what I wasn't really referring to the technology itself, but it's just the fact that like it's a marketing term and that people have latched onto this marketing term as this is the bad marketing term. Sort of like a more
Monsanto.
a more frivolous example is like brominated vegetable oil when it was like that
Hydrox.
was used in a lot of drinks that was somebody like some blogger called like Food Babe or something latched onto that as some kind of huge problem, but it's like it's basically vegetable oil. I don't know. Someone's gonna get mad at me for saying all this stuff. But it's like or the KFC double down. That's like the dumbest example of this is
They're
that
bringing it back.
yeah, KFC double down, people flipped out about it because it's two chicken patties together, right?
Yeah,
Without
we
bun.
were laughing at it when it came
Yeah.
out. So yeah.
Yeah, or the burger on a donut. Like it's like you could eat a burger and then eat a donut when you're done and no one would blink an eye at you. I'm of the mind that if pizza came out today, people would like be freaked out by it. They're like,
Okay.
well, you put all that stuff on a you have to take a bread
You
and then
put a
put
cheese and a tomato on a
but
bread?
yeah, what is this? You're
You
disgusting. It's a disgusting
disgust
slurry.
me with your pizza.
You make me sick.
It's a scandal,
Yeah.
like some kind of wait, no, let's not say that.
Um
I had this
basic
hamburger last week and it had like 12 layers. I ended up eating it like a 5-year-old. It
wow.
was like a regression therapy, I guess. My
That
wife
doesn't look
was
like it
eating
has a ton of beef on it though.
you
So
know,
that's
it
probably
does. It's
good.
a
It
big
does.
burger. It's a large burger.
I guess I just it was like an optical illusion.
It was a pretty insane thing to eat. Somehow my wife was able to just pick it up and eat it. I don't know how she managed that, but I was sitting
Hmm.
there like, am I gonna make a hamburger salad out of this? Am I just gonna like mash it all up, and
I
eat it like a
yeah,
salad? Is
I
hamburger
hate
salad like okay? Is that
probably. I mean,
yeah?
it depends. It depends on Japanese culture, probably, right?
Taco salad works fine.
Would someone freak out if they saw you like disassembling a thing? Like I know people who are kind of snotty about eating a pizza with a pizza slice with knife and fork.
That that's what okay, whatever.
Some
That makes
people are like that, but what I'm saying is that I think as our society has suffered through so many commercials collectively that we are getting to the point where catchphrases that are meant to market things to us are being seized upon and then used
as
as like
political
this is
opinions.
bad. Yeah, but, or yeah, misinformed political opinions. It's like
So maybe
Um,
if they have those, the next big protest for someone like your Trump or whatever, you could have a bunch of protesters in the street just screaming, "I'm loving it," and like no one even knows what they're trying to protest.
yeah, and then basically immediately the left gets, I'm not loving it.
And then the left shows up, step into a Slim Jim, and then
And
they
the
just
right
end up.
is like Slim Jim is, yeah, it's like the woke people saying woke is broke. Like nobody knows what woke is. It's just really just insane.
That would be the new version of this episode, just screaming like well-known catchphrases at each other instead of nursery rhymes. That would be the.
I've
I hope they. Maybe we have to find out if they did that for the Prisoner remake. I'm sure they didn't, because I'm not sure they didn't. Who knows?
now I'm trying to remember something. I mean, there definitely has been something where I've seen where like a insane deranged man keeps screaming catch like commercial phrases, and I can't. Or I don't know, Weird Al's character from Transformers the movie, didn't he say a bunch of commercials?
Was
Sure,
that Weird
well, yeah,
Al?
they're rent for
Weird Al?
1995.
I
Yeah,
think Weird
when he
Al is
was.
the wrong.
Oh no, Weird Al was played that character later. I messed up. Eric
Okay.
Idle.
Okay. Well, oh, I
Like
had
my brain is skipping all over the place.
there's Bumblebee.
Yeah, I guess Bumblebee kind of was Wreck-Gar, wasn't he?
I mean, he's not trying to drive people insane like in this episode, but
Well, he's totally sane. He's just being used as a plot device
he's just
so
been
that the
damaged,
people
right?
writing the script don't have to write his character.
Yeah, yeah, because that way you don't have to like just like shoehorn your cultural references and you just, well, that's what Bumblebee has
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, when that movie plays in China, they just put Chinese commercials in his mouth. He's the butler basically. He's a mime. He's the
Yeah.
butler. Bumblebee is the butler. That's the thesis statement of this episode.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. He is the smaller Transformer, isn't he? Or at
True
least in toy
indeed.
form. In the movie, is he? He's about the same size in the movie, isn't he?
I think he's shorter than Optimus Prime, but not like not as
Not
short
like
as like
Bumblebee
the
size.
he's not as short as like the racist ones. I
Okay.
think they're shorter.
Yeah, aren't they like almost human size or something?
They're like 12 feet tall, but then I think it takes two of them to turn into a tow truck so they could
Okay.
repossess cars because they're racist.
Because you could
Get
almost
it?
get eye to eye with a um 12-year-old 12-foot high robot, I guess.
I don't know whatever
Because on
happens.
Transformers, the ride Optimus gets way up in your face. It's like everything is Optimus's face, telling you, um, you've saved the planet or whatever.
Optimus is just your father figure. He's like when you're a child, your father seems like he's, 3 stories tall, and that's what
Mm.
Optimus Prime is.
You're
He's the
3 stories
you know,
tall.
the father is the model for God, and then God is the model for Optimus Prime.
Okay.
Santa is in there somewhere. I think he's between God
No, you should
and
flip that.
Father.
Optimus Prime is the model for God.
Optimus Prime is the model for God. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is that you embrace Optimus Prime when you're a child, so that you can transition to embracing God as an adult.
Okay, I think we've been reborn then. Degree
He died
absolute
for your
finished.
sins, didn't
Yeah,
he?
I think we've worked it out. Okay. Um,
Anyway, any final thoughts on this episode
no,
other
I
than
just that's just that Optimus Prime is the model for God. That's how I've been reborn today.
do you is this is my favorite episode of the series. Is this your favorite episode of the series? What's your favorite so far?
I like this one quite well. I think I'm sticking by "It's Your Funeral" just for having everything and more of the village. It is nice to kind of ramble around the
Yeah,
village some.
I did really kind of feel that like absence a couple of times. I
I mean, you
was
have
I
in several episodes now, so.
yeah. I also for a while I think I was just thinking to myself, man, this would be perfect if it was just in the village.
Mm.
I mean,
I
it
mean,
really
this
could have been.
this episode is all in the village. It's
I
just
mean, it
in the embryo room that's
doesn't
in the
have the
village.
set design. I mean, they could have done that. I think it's just a matter of that they probably filmed it on a soundstage. I have no idea.
They
That
didn't.
was that was not in my trivia, but
Clearly filmed on a soundstage in London.
yeah, got to save that
um,
money.
I guess we'll wind this one down then. So this podcast is what is it on
Imprisoned in
things?
prison. What?
Is that what it is on Twitter and Facebook?
Oh, the
All that.
Prisoner Pod
That's what it is. Okay.
on
See,
Twitter and
good
Facebook.
I asked. Yeah.
Yup.
And then on Patreon is Podcastius, where you can support us, and we do other podcasts where we talk about the best movies and the worst movies alternatingly, like Star Trek episodes on films and filth. That reference just made it more confusing. That's fine.
Wait,
Twilight
no,
Zone on
we
Time Enough
alternate good and
Podcast.
bad movies, like I alternated good and bad Star Trek.
There. You made a simile. That's what I tried to do it as a metaphor, and it needed to be a simile. Okay.
You just
Uh,
take the like out.
the Twilight Zone is Time Enough Podcast. We talk about that. There's some video games. Luke loves Pokemon, Hyrule Field Report for Zelda stuff, and the Game Show for Game Show stuff. I said it slightly differently, so we're not repeating ourselves
Stuff
every time. It's stuff
and
now.
things.
Okay, I only got 5 minutes left, man, so I gotta get moving.
Yep. Time to go.
5 minutes.
Five.
Little Miss Muffet. 36. Jack
Pop.
Horner. 22.
Pop.
6.
Pop. 6.